Hey there everybody, it's Dr. Joanny Liu and I'm here today to talk about gratitude and for the kindness of strangers because I've got a great story to tell you. I'm just waiting for a few people to hop on and let's do it, okay? Because Thanksgiving is coming up in Canada. In fact, it's next week, Monday, the 10th. Sorry about that. The thing is that being in gratitude and giving thanks is something that we should be doing every day. We should be remembering to do it all the time because we have a lot more to be grateful for than we often think. Okay, too often we're thinking about things that are bad, that are happening to us, things that we don't like. But the thing is that the more we think about the things that we don't like, the more it amplifies and emphasizes that side of our life. So, this is about thinking and using your brain in the right way because it's all about what we think. And since we're emotional beings and we can't escape that fact, we are always going to be very emotional about the things that we think about too. So, why not control the things that we think about? Because that's the only thing that we really do have control over. We have control over our thoughts, and therefore we have control over our brains. And therefore, because of that, we can heal our brains just because we are thinking the right things. Okay, so let's start. Last summer, my two brothers and I decided to have a nice vacation together. My brothers were coming all the way from Toronto, and we had already planned out what we wanted to do, okay? Months in advance. One of the things that my brothers wanted to do was to visit Waterton Provincial Park, okay? Well, it's a national park, actually. But it's part of the Canadian Rockies, our magnificent Canadian Rockies. And Waterton is very special. You know, it came after Banff, which is our first national park in Canada, and probably our best well-known park. And so Banff, because it was built before any regulations, before anybody said anything, you know, it's really well developed, but it is what it is, and it's great. Waterton is still very pristine. It's still very much the same as it was 25 years ago, 30 years ago when I first visited it, okay? So a lot in it hasn't changed. So this was a very special trip, and I managed to find the very last hotel room with a vacancy, right? That was the very last room in the entire park. So we had to get there, okay? So we went very early in the morning, and we were about 40 kilometers outside of the Waterton Park gates, okay? And I saw this, I think it was a thrasher, down the road, and it was coming up to this bridge, to this 2-lane bridge. Well, the thing just, it took up the entire width of this bridge. So I knew that there was no way that I was going to be on this bridge at the same time with this thing. So I decided that I would let it pass, okay? Let it go. So I parked on the side of the road and just let it go. Hi Jennifer, how are you? Nice to see you all the way from Hong Kong. Oh my God. So the thing is that I was on the side of the road and I stopped and I turned off my car, okay, which is a Nissan SUV with my two brothers, okay? And we waited for this thrasher to go by. So it went by and I turned on the car. Well, it wouldn't turn over. I couldn't get into gear. All of a sudden, my clutch failed. 40 kilometers away from Waterton Lakes. And this meant so much to me. It meant so much to my brothers. And immediately I started to feel this sense of panic rising inside me. and I realized, okay, I can't let this ruin my day. And I know I can think through this, okay? So I forced the panic down out of me, out of my thoughts, and then I just sat there quietly for a few minutes and asked for help. I asked God for help. And then immediately I realized, okay, I've got AMA membership. Call them, okay? So I called them my cell phone, and I was talking to them, and then they said, okay, let's talk to the toll truck company that's nearby, which wasn't really that nearby because it was in a little city about 100 kilometers down the road from us. And so at one point I was probably talking into 3 different cell phones, you know, 2 for my brothers, so that I could talk to all these different people at the same time. And in the meantime, you know, a truck came by. The guy asked my brothers, you know, can I help? And they told him that, well, it's a clutch. And he said, oh, okay, I don't have that much equipment in my truck, because I guess this guy repairs cars. And so I didn't know any of this was happening because I was so busy talking on 2 or 3 different phones. So it was just crazy, right? And so we were problem solving. And the thing is I was taking action. I was doing something constructive. I was being positive, and I was having faith. The thing is, with the tow truck driver, he couldn't drive us all the way back to Calgary with the truck, with our SUV, because he could only take 2 people with him. He couldn't fit all 3 of us. And I thought, oh my God, you know, like, what are we gonna do? And then I thought, okay, well, how about if we drive down to Lethbridge, which was the closest city, you know, and leave the car there, leave the SUV there, and try to rent a vehicle to take us on our way to Waterton, because we were only 40 kilometers away from our destination, and I did not want to quit, and I know my brothers didn't want to quit. And so we're talking to all these people, and then you know, I'm talking, and then I realized that, oh, you know, a young man is climbing over this barbed wire fence, and he went over and he started talking to my brothers. But I'm still talking on 2 different cell phones. And so we got things settled, and then I realized, you know, my brother stopped me, and they said, well, this guy has offered to take us to Lethbridge. Really? And so he offered to take us to Lethbridge, and so I talked to him and I said, you know, at a price, of course, right? And he said, sure. And so I finished talking to AMA, told us that about this turn of events. So we arranged to have the tow truck driver come down and pick up the SUV and take it to Calgary, back to the Nissan dealership. And then we would go to Lethbridge, rent a car, because I was unable to cancel my hotel reservation because it was done through Expedia, and I couldn't get through the Expedia. So that did it, you know. So that told me, okay, we have to go or we lose everything anyway. So let's just make the best of a tough situation. Okay, so that's resiliency. First, I took control of the situation. I had faith that things were going to work out one way or the other. No matter what the final decision was, it was going to work out. And it did in the end. And the thing is, after I got off the phone with the tow truck driver, you know, told him where to go, where the SUV was, because the guy actually managed to even move our car. Hi Barb, how are you? He even managed to move the car off the road and into the RV park where he worked. Okay, so he did this for us. And he drove us all the way to Lethbridge. And the thing is, I offered, I said, okay, we'll pay you whatever price. Good morning, Barb. We'll pay you whatever price you need. And he said, well, I know my vehicle, and it'll probably just cost me $10, to get to and from Lethbridge from here, which was Glenwood, Alberta, okay? And because he used to work, he told us on the way down there that he used to be a research scientist, but now he was working at this RV park, waiting for another opportunity. And so he was so kind. So immediately my youngest brother, pulled out $20 and gave it to him, okay? And the thing is, he drove the entire 100 kilometers down to Lethbridge, and we had a nice long chat, getting to know this nice young man. His name is David Rolfson. He was manager of the RV park, okay? And we found out all about him. He found out about us. We had a nice chat. He took us to Enterprise first to rent a car. By the time we got there, they had no cars left. Oh no. The thing is that David did not leave us. He didn't just drop us off and just hightail it out of there. No, he made sure that we were safe, that we got what we wanted. So Enterprise gave us the addresses of a few other car rental places, okay? Okay, Barb, see you later. And so the thing is that he didn't leave us. He took us to National, where we were able to rent a car. But listen to this. At National, they had this huge Durango SUV waiting that it needed to go back to Calgary. But they hadn't found anybody to drive it back yet. So here we are in the fix that we are in, and yeah, we're going to drive it back to Calgary for them, back to the airport. So they were so happy for this that they didn't charge us, for the extra mileage to not returning this car, because we were returning it to its original place in the first place. So we got a discount on our rental. It was incredible. Is any of this luck? No, it's not. So when David Rolfson made sure that we were in our cars and that we had put our stuff inside our rental, that's when he made his preparations to leave. And I had already prepared to give him another $20, not just for his trouble, but for his generosity of spirit. So because of the generosity of so many strangers, from AMA, the tow truck driver, the guy who stopped in his truck and asked if we needed help, and then the young man who is the manager of Blue Trail RV Park in Glenwood, Alberta, Canada. Because of these people, my brothers and I were able to spend a couple of days just by ourselves, our siblings, all by ourselves, because we hadn't done this in 40 years? It was an amazing trip, and I am so grateful for what they all did for us. I'm getting really emotional, but the thing is, I really feel it deep in my heart, because the people where I live are good people, and they want to help. I mean, the thing about Calgary is that you can still say hello to people on the jogging paths, and they say hello back. You can strike up a great conversation with a person at a bus stop, or in a lineup in a store, and they're willing to have that conversation. It's such a positive, wonderful place to live. There aren't many places left like this, because people tell me from all over, because I visit a lot of places on business, and I tell them about what it's like here. And they say, oh wow, people would never do that here. But I'm so grateful to live here, because people do want to help. They have good hearts. So, Blue Trail RV Park. Okay, I'm going to lift this up here. Hope you can read it. The fascinating thing about this place is that it actually has a 5-hole golf course attached to it. It doesn't have a lot of amenities, but it's got this 5-hole golf course, so you don't have to spend your entire day or even, you know, a large part of your morning golfing if that's what you want to do. So it's a really neat little RV park. And, you know, like out of the blue, this young man was just out there in his vehicle checking the fence. He was just checking things out. He was doing his daily rounds when he found us. And then, you know, he could obviously see that we were in trouble and needed help, and there he was. It was so amazing. So thank you very much, David Rolfson. This is my thank you to you. And I want you and your company to be as prosperous as ever, because you really deserve to be rewarded for the goodness in your heart. So that's my message and lesson for today, because stress, panic only makes you stupid. But when you make yourself calm down and you expect that you will solve your problem, it will happen. And it will happen because sometimes through the kindness of strangers, sometimes through your own initiative, because suddenly you get the ideas that you really need in order to get better, to improve, to become the success that you want, to have the life that you want. And it's all because you took the time and believed in yourself and in other people. So if you know anybody who is in trouble, who is suffering from post-concussion syndrome, who just had a concussion, my book, my best-selling book, Heal Your Concussion, How to Quickly and Effectively Get Back in Your Game, is exactly about becoming that optimistic, resilient, and strong person again. Go to Amazon and buy the book. Change your life, change your brain, heal your life, and heal your brain. Thank you so much. And God bless you all. And happy Thanksgiving, Canada. Monday, October the 10th. Be awesome. Bye.